Yo, people, what's good? What's good? Welcome to another upload on the channel that is biased about all things football. We don't chat women, we don't chat drinks, we don't chat rugby, we don't chat cricket, we don't chat music. We chat one thing and one thing only, and that's the round ball that we kick with the foot, man. You know, understand? So I'm with my bro Thizo, always with the Gunners jersey. This guy is just, it's just I don't
Standard.
know.
Ghana through and through, boy.
Through and through, man. Nice to see you again, bro. So yeah, let's just say I just want to greet the people, whoever's watching, the one Tunyana. I see you there. Just keep liking and subscribing for the boys. And then yeah, man, we're just gonna keep churning out the content. And like I said to you the last time we were talking, I don't want this to just be like the whole Zoom thing going on. This is just for convenience sake, and so also for me to just start, getting into the groove of things. But I'm trying to construct different ways of, bringing out some other forms of content. So we'll see, man. For now, this is where we are. This is what we're doing. And the first thing, Tizo, that I want to talk to you about is the Ballon d'Or. It's coming up. I don't know when the vote is exactly. So I just
Mhm.
done a bit of research on my side. And firstly, I wanted to, if you didn't know, just explain some of the criteria. Because it was changed. I
Sure.
think last year they changed some of the criteria for choosing the Ballon d'Or winner. So it says that the voting criteria was updated in 2022 to focus on three main factors. The primary criteria is the player's individual performance in the previous season, which is no longer by calendar year and no longer factoring career success at all, meaning that they only look at the season. So for this one, they're looking at 2022, 2023 only, right? And then it says the other second factor would be team success during that season, and then also player behavior and fair play. Those are the three criteria, right? And then I delved into it because I don't know if you saw my tweet earlier. I was like,
Mhm.
um, if Messi wins the
All
Ballon
about
d'Or,
if Messi wins.
yeah, if
Yeah.
Messi wins the Ballon d'Or, it's going to be like one of the biggest injustices of football. And then I was like, is it really? You know? But before I continue, I want to get your opinion on that. So I said, like I'll repeat, him winning the Ballon d'Or will be one of the biggest injustices of football. Where do you stand on that statement?
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, whichever way it goes would be fair. I think if
Mm-hmm.
Haaland wins it, I can
Yeah.
understand why he would have
Yeah.
won it. I mean, if you're scoring 62 goals in 67 games,
Mm-hmm.
like it speaks for itself. You win a treble.
Yeah.
And I feel like with the same thing with Messi. I mean, if you're going
Mm.
to be the top goal scorer in a World Cup and lead your team to a
Mm.
World Cup triumph, that's also like
Mm.
worthy, of winning a
Mm.
Ballon d'Or. Who do I think deserves it more? I think uh
Let me
tough, but
pause
I
you
think
there. Let me pause you there,
sure,
right? Let me pause you there.
sure.
So I actually looked, I thought about it, like, because after I tweeted that, I was like, actually, because people seem to think that Messi deserves it. I've always been like, yo, and I don't really care. I want to caveat by saying I don't really care who wins it because like the Ballon d'Or has lost its essence for me. Like when it was
Sure.
when they split from the FIFA thing, then it was the FIFA best player and the Ballon d'Or. It just got a bit like blurred, and then you don't even know is it like the journalists, is it the captains? It just it's all over the place.
Hmm.
So I dived deep into the statistics, right? So looking at the statistics, Haaland throughout the season had across all competitions 50, 52 goals and 9 assists, right? Winning the Premier League, winning the FA Cup, winning the Champions League, right? And then looking at Messi's stats, he got 32 goals and 25 assists for PSG. And also, because I think they're including some stats, because I got this from Transfer Market. So they're including some stats from his time in the MLS. But yeah, just those few Nyana goals. And then in the World Cup, he got 7 goals and 3 assists. So combined, we have to include the World Cup. So just because Haaland wasn't there, like we need to include that. So I am
Yeah.
for that chat. So looking at the statistics, I was like, man, these guys are actually, in terms of goal contributions, including goals and assists, they're actually quite neck and neck. if you include the World Cup statistics, then Messi overshadows Haaland.
Yeah.
Right. So then that's when I started thinking about it. Like, I'm supposed to be working, man. I'm at work. I'm thinking about Ballon d'Or. So I think about it and I'm like, actually, when I look at it, bruh, like I didn't know because maybe we don't watch Ligue 1. We don't watch PSG. These statistics, how much weight do we put on these statistics, bro? Because Ligue 1 is no longer in the top 5 leagues in the world. It got overshadowed by Turkey. So they're number 6. So competition-wise, the 6th league and the Premier League, worlds apart. I don't care what you say, right?
Yep.
Does that have any bearing in this argument?
Of course it does. I think it's a factor worth considering. But I think in the same breath, like, not a lot of people are doing that, even in Ligue 1. So I think
true.
Obviously, you can't compare and say goals in the Premier League versus goals in Ligue 1, but the number of goals, man, and assists, the number of goal contributions, let's say, are telling, I think, though, when you look at competitions where, like the Champions League, for example, where both of you are in, like one guy won it and the other guy didn't,
Actually flopped.
Like
the other guy flopped.
Yeah, with arguably same number of talent. Like the talent that you're playing with is very similar, I think where the edge to Messi comes in is in the tournaments where he is winning, he's the main guy,
Thank you. I think, and that's where, sorry to cut you, I think that's where now I have to side with the Messi guys. Because when I look, bro, like football isn't just played on statistics. Otherwise, we would just be playing FIFA, right? Computer games our entire lives, right? Like we have eyes, we see what you understand. And it's not hard to see why Messi didn't flourish in that PSG team. I mean, they fired the coach, for goodness sake. And like, there's just something that's just, whether it's that the team dynamic or the team chemistry, there's just something about PSG that just doesn't look like they'll win the Champions League, right? But then looking at the criteria, they look at the player performance, which is the first criteria. Second criteria is the team performance. So now we're looking at it, right? I think they won like the French Cup. PSG won the French Cup. They lost the league, right? If I'm not mistaken, they win the league.
Yeah, I don't think they won the league.
Yeah, they lost the league, right? So now winning the World Cup, that's the holy grail, man. Like that's the holy grail. You win the World Cup, you solidified your career like, for life. It's done, But then, bro, like to be consistently getting the numbers that this guy was getting, I mean Haaland in this case, it's very hard for me to overlook that. However, after like diving into this and also having this chat, I feel like I'm now indifferent about this, like what I said earlier in my tweet. I was like, it's injustice. It's not an injustice in the sense. I feel I just think like when you are banging in goals the way you are, like it's breaking records. Premier League Player of the Year, Football Writers Player of the Year, UEFA Best Player of the Year. All of these things, bro. He's notched it all. And the only thing that Messi got over him is the World Cup. And it's just a shame that Haaland plays for a very poor country. Poor in the sense of not money, but poor in the sense of like the footballing side. I don't even think like they'll make it to the next World Cup. It's just him and Odegaard that are like, the main guys. You look at Argentina, Alvarez, Di Maria, Enzo Fernandez. It goes on and on. Rodrigo de Paul. On and on and on and on. You can keep going, keep churning out names. So I think it's kind of unfair, but then it's the reality. So I just think I just wanted to get your opinion on that. So in your opinion, you just think Messi's going to win it and that's done?
Yeah, bro. I think he's going to win the 8th. I think that World Cup, the fact that from a statistical standpoint, they're not like they're in the same league, like just statistically, when you're looking purely at the numbers, very similar. When you're looking at the weight of contribution, right? I think that's where Messi edges it slightly. So I think when we're looking from an individual, like via the metrics for Ballon d'Or, I think individually, Messi better. He had a better season, you know. And naturally the World Cup is a massive part of that, you know.
True.
Team, I think that's where Haaland like edges it, right? Naturally he won more trophies with his team. Fair play, I think very similar. You know, neither of them is really
but
getting into any kind of trouble.
That's gonna go to Messi, bro. When we're talking what do they call player behavior and fair play, his behavior in the World Cup was poor. It was poor. This man was fight. I've never seen Messi fight like that in the World Cup. He was like, even in the interviews, there's an interview where he's telling like the I don't know, the interviewer is telling him shit, or some guy's walking past and it's just like he's just telling him nonsense. And I'm just like, man, this is Messi. Like, he had a bit of grit. And you could just tell like he wanted that tournament, like it was like his dying wish, man.
Yeah.
So I think I'd be totally fine with that. I think if you asked me a week ago, I'd be like, no, never. Haaland, Ballon d'Or cheats, FIFA cheats, But now I'm just like, yo, man, like it just makes sense. And I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. But I was listening to something earlier on YouTube. I forgot who, but they were just saying like Messi winning the world, like the Ballon d'Or, and being the only player in the MLS or the only player outside of Europe to hold the Ballon d'Or has some sort of weight in it. And these guys, right? They'll say that they don't. I believe that some of these guys campaign. They might not campaign in the sense like they do when you're campaigning for an election. But these guys, maybe I might be wrong, you know, but let's not spend time on conspiracies. I think we've already settled that we think Messi's going to win it. And that's just, it is what it is. It's not an injustice.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to delete my tweet. So it is what it is.
Not even going to edit? No?
Nah, bro. Nah, I'm not on, what do they call it? Twitter Blue, where you pay. I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to pay to edit my tweets, man. It's whatever. And then I just saw something, just moving on. I saw something interesting today. And knowing you, I really want to like get your opinion on it. David De Gea, back at United. Rumor has it. What do you think?
I can understand it. Firstly, I think it's commendable from United. If it's true, I mean, it's very important to put that in there because it also could just be a rumor. If it's true, I would commend United for being able to say, maybe we got this one wrong. You know, maybe we should have kept him on at least for one more season. Especially coming off of winning the Golden Glove, you know, for United in what was like a makeshift back four because of all the injuries and all of that. So I'd commend them for not for not doubling down and saying, no, we're fine. We didn't need him. We were happy to let him go. So I'd commend them for being able to do that. I think it'd be great, you know, just from a morale standpoint, you know, he's been there. He's done everything for United. He's been their player of the year more times, I think, than anyone else in their history. And they've had their fair share of talent, you know, so that's telling in and of itself. And I think United don't have a lot of leaders, you know. I think that they have some talent, but I think what they're really missing is like a sure thing. You know, I think Onana, to his credit, had a great game the other day in Europe, helped them win by saving a last-minute penalty. But that's basically been the highlight of his United tenure. You know, other than that, it's been mistake after mistake after and it's just like you're being questioned. So who better than the guy who you were brought in to replace to put his arm around you and say, look, bro, you've got
this how it's done.
Yeah. No, I don't even think it's this is how it's done, because they're gonna say that De Gea can't play out the back and blah 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 blah, all the stuff that was being pushed out. I think De Gea's primarily being brought in for when Onana's at AFCON.
Yes.
That's the main thinking behind it. So it's just like let me hold the fort down while you go and represent your country. When you come back, there you go. I'm just here to support you. I think it will also help the chatters to kind of like give Onana more of a chance, if De Gea's there as well, as opposed to this is what we replaced De Gea with,
Yeah. Now, when I say this is how it's done, I mean in the sense of like this is how it is to be a United goalie, because like I just feel like there's certain clubs, right, whereby like when you go in there, it's like, man, like you can't have a bad game. And United is like United, Madrid, Liverpool, Arsenal to a certain extent. To a lesser degree. Who else? Man City also not like that, but like United, like when you pull on that shirt and you step out on Old Trafford, like my man, you better ball. And if you don't ball, like it's gonna be known. It's the biggest club in the world. You make a mistake, it's making like back page news. Like almost every newspaper, it's going to be shared on Twitter. It's going to be shared all over social media, TikTok. You're going to become a meme. It just is what it is. It's not like because he made. I think he made a fair share of mistakes at Inter, at Ajax, Onana, but it didn't get this much scrutiny. So I think getting De Gea might be assisting them in that regard. But also, I want to caveat by saying, if I'm just playing devil's advocate, maybe I'm just a member of the board in United. I'm just like, guys, this guy hasn't got a club, right? Why? Why is that? Why is it that De Gea, he's not old by any stretch of the imagination? There's Saudi. You're telling me there's no club, right, that can afford to say, we're going to bet on this guy on a free, even on that. And that just leads me to think like, why? And also, it reeks of, I don't want to say desperation, but it just reeks of like, yo, we got it wrong type of thing. Like admitting like, yo, we got it wrong with this guy. And maybe it helps, maybe because they'll get him on a year and he's off to AFCON. Like the reasoning behind it can work. But I just feel like, something can go wrong from this. I don't know what it is. I just don't see how it can. I can see how it can help within the dressing room and all these things like that you mentioned. It's just seems very backwards. It doesn't seem very progressive. Like we going forward, we doing like this, right? That's just my only problem with it. But otherwise, I feel like it makes sense because this guy's going to AFCON. When you signed him, he had no chance of going to AFCON. He was fighting with the Cameroon FA, all of these things. Now all of a sudden they've kissed and made up. Looks like he's going to go to AFCON. So from that sense, I think it makes sense because you need an able replacement. And it's very clear to see that Ten Hag doesn't trust. I think they've got a keeper from Turkey, if I'm not mistaken, a second goalie. It's very clear that they don't trust him. So to go back to De Gea, maybe, how do you think if you're that second goalie, like, bro, I'm here. You signed me in the summer. I'm here. Play me.
Yeah, in an ideal world, I think when you're struggling, which United obviously are by their standards, you're less likely to want to take risks,
Yeah, true.
And I think bringing in a new keeper and trying to bet him in, because he hasn't played a game for United as yet, and trying to bet him in such a critical point in the season, when you're trying to fight for whatever you're fighting for, if you're United at that stage, whether it's being on the top half of the table or whether it's a push for top four. If you're not starting to make those strides in that kind of Christmas, January period, very unlikely that by May, you've found your way into the top four, particularly with like how the other teams are looking. And I think that also plays a part, if it's like just open-ended and you've got a Aston Villa in there and you've got a Brentford in there and you've got a Brighton in there and like your other established teams like your Spurs, your Chelseas, your even a Liverpool, are in and around you, wherever you are in the table, let's say 8, 9, 10, it's just like, let's take a risk because it's a tricky season for everyone. Now it looks like everybody's on the right path and United are kind of playing catch up, So do you want to try and play catch up with a keeper that's not really established, that doesn't really know the Premier League? And also, like, you stand the risk of like getting your fans to turn on you because it's just like you brought in a new number 1 and a number 2 keeper. Neither of them are working out, Like, do you guys actually know what it takes to bring in a United keeper? And I mean, we've seen, like, you made reference to how United keepers aren't like any other club. I mean, we're talking about a club that had your Peter Schmeichels of the world, your Edwin van der Sars of the world, and David De Gea's in there as well. So you can't really like come in and flop. There's a lot of positions where you can kind of get away with it. The goalkeeping department isn't one. So I think it makes a lot of sense, and I hope they do it for their sake.
And for yours, you De Gea fanboy.
Look, he's an extraordinary keeper, and trust me, there's not much I like about United.
Yeah.
Like, it pains me to speak about United fondly, but I think David De Gea's earned that, man. Like, he's really, really earned that. Yeah.
No, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you, bro. And then so yeah, I think that's just all that I wanted to, just chat about, so looking for, or rather just talking about the Champions League games that you mentioned earlier. I wanted to also gather from you after watching, because it's not a very good sample size. It's only been 2 rounds of the Champions League games. I want to gather from you, from these teams that you've seen, who do you think could be the potential semi-finalists? Like the 4 teams that you think could be the ones gunning it out is it from March? From March, April, May, to win the coveted Champions League?
Tricky one. I think City, as the holders, I don't expect them to go out early. They've also been fortunate in the fact that they've got quite a winnable group. Not really much challenge there outside of RB Leipzig.
I think City and Madrid is just, it's just there.
Yeah.
I don't think we can look beyond that. 2 of the best teams in the world. Madrid, not so much, but I think the pedigree that team has is just...
Yeah, and the fact that that's their competition.
Yeah, true.
You can bet against Madrid anywhere else.
Not the Champions League.
The Champions League. Yeah.
Okay, what's your other 2
spots are a free for all, hey? I think standouts for me have been Barca, which has been quite a surprise. I think they've managed to find a way to win games, and I think that's really, really important. And I think it's a toss-up between Bayern and Arsenal for that last spot. Generally, that head-to-head hasn't favored Arsenal very well, but I think that there's maybe experience, right? Within the Champions League will make me give the spot to Bayern before I do Arsenal.
Yeah.
Purely because they've won the competition as a club. They know what it is, to go in there and win. And I think they've bought well in the transfer window. I mean, bringing in an established 9 like Harry Kane will always help you take that next step, as a club. So I think, maybe that'll be my 4.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you. I think with Bayern, right? Because I watched that game. Because I had money on it. So I watched that game. I watched it, right? And watching it, man, the first half, I was like, what? Like, how is Tuchel the coach of this team? Like, they were nowhere. And they were playing Galatasaray. Like, you had Wilfried Zaha, like, playing like a prime... What's the best left wing I've seen? I don't know. Just playing like Zaha, Icardi, Torreira... Bro, Torreira, bro. Bayern made these guys look like world beaters, right, in the first half. And I just think, like, in the second half, I don't like the class, because Bayern has class players, like world-class players.
Yeah.
But when I look at the game and I look at the squad, I'm like, that defense, you can really get at that defense, right? Offensively, you can also stifle them, because they play like it's like a gung-ho type of game, whereby it's like, yo, it's like, I don't know if Tuchel is like putting them in places where they have like patterns of play and all of these things like a Pep does, right? It's like you guys are, right? We have the back four, we have one sitting, which is Kimmich, and then the rest of you guys go. Like, just do what you want. You got Musiala all over the place. You got Gnabry, Sane, and then Kane is dropping deep like he was at Spurs. Like, sometimes it's good to watch. Like, I'd say the last 30 minutes of that game was very good to watch from a Bayern point of view. But to play like that against Galatasaray, I just feel like coming against a better outfit over 2 legs, I don't see Bayern making it out, man. I really don't. And it's just very... they can really make the semi-finals. They really can, if they get a good run. But I feel like if they come up against like an Inter, like some team that is very frustrating, and they can get them on the counter, I don't think they'll make it out. But I think I'd be inclined to agree with that. That the top 4 teams to make it to the semi-final would be Real Madrid, Man City, and then a toss-up between Bayern, Arsenal, Barca. And I'd really throw in Inter Milan again. Like they just look good, man. Like, I don't know what it is. Even in the league, when I watched highlights, I don't really watch Serie A, but when I watched the highlights and I watched them in the Champions League, man, they just look like really solid. They look like a team that is well-oiled. Like, they just have the guys where they should be. Like, you just know what you're gonna get. You know, playing a three at the back doesn't change. We're playing 3-5-2. That's what we do. You know, I just enjoy watching like Italian teams play, especially like when they're playing the way that they play. Not like AC Milan, Juventus, like Inter bringing back that Italy vibe that I really like, even though the football can sometimes be somewhat boring. But I think that's all I have for today, man. I think next time we chat, we'll be looking forward to the next games in the league. And I think next topic that I wanted to talk to you about, maybe you can just think about it for the time being, right? The top 5 signings of the summer. Let's say we'll have one for world football, and then maybe have one for just like the Premier League. So I think next time we chat, maybe we would have watched maybe 2 more games to give us maybe a larger sample size to chat about it in that regard. But I just find it, I think some people are talking about it on YouTube. So I just found it like a very interesting topic to talk about. But yeah, man, I think that's all that I have, man. It was a good chat, just gather, just to chat about football, man. There's nothing else to talk about. I don't think so, unless we want to do like predictions for the weekend. But there's still like Europa League games to go tonight. We're recording this on Thursday, so where there's a lot of teams playing, man. There's Europa League, Europa Conference League also. So I think it wouldn't be a fair prediction, because we have teams like Liverpool, Villa, Brighton playing tonight. So I don't think we would get an accurate prediction from that, because somebody might get injured, you know what I mean? But otherwise, from your side, bro, is there anything you want to touch on?
Nah, bro. I'm looking forward to our next chat. I think that top 5 signings is going to be quite interesting. There'll be a large England contingent in there.
That's true.
Particularly that man from that number 5, that big number 5 that's making waves in a very difficult city to make waves of Spain, So, but yeah, looking forward to that chat, man.
Yeah, and then also I think in the next international break, I got my boy Neo to join us, because people wouldn't know, we recorded a team of the season, a Premier League team of the season chat. Hey man, I don't know. It got heavy.
With a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, it got heavy. It got very heavy. And overall, I wasn't really happy with that. So I just think like we need a third opinion to come in between us and, just settle that debate. So that'll be coming in the next international break. And also international breaks, man. Like they're coming. There's another one coming like 2-3 weeks, man. Oh, like I really hate these things.
We all do.
You understand?
I'm yet to meet anyone that's like, yes, international break. Nah. No.
So yeah, man, we signing out, and just as a caveat, I know I said we only chat football here, but I mean our boys are about to play they're playing New Zealand in the final for the Rugby World Cup, and man, I just hope we get it, Thizo. Like we need this as South Africans. We need this. We need it. I mean, it's been so nice. They've had a nice run to the World Cup. We haven't had load shedding. Nothing. It's like, we need it. We just need it.
Yeah, and I think the boys know that. I think listening to the interviews over this past week and during the duration of the World Cup, like they understand what it means to have to bring that home, you know, for us as a country, the fact that we're all backing them, we're all watching it, whether you're a fan or not, you know, but everyone is like taking a vested interest. And I think that a lot of people are going to be watching that final. And I mean, you know, Rassi and Jacques Ninaba came out with a 7-1 split on the bench. So that's already making waves, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be really interesting to see. Yeah, that was expected. That was definitely expected. I think you go with your most established team. And that team definitely has to include Andre and Faf back in there. It's unfortunate for Mani and Guabus, but
hey man,
they'll
come on. They'll come on. But and also, bro, this is like one of the most rarest things I've seen. So many women are like in it, bro. Like they are inside it. I was like, yo, you guys were like this in the Soccer World Cup. What's going on? Like they are inside it, bro. I was like, yo, it's very nice to see, man. I really like to see that.
It's always easier to get behind winners, bro.
Yeah.
And like the box just give you that feeling like, I'm not wasting my energy backing these guys, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, man. I think on that note, man, we're gonna sign out. So I don't know what number upload this is, but yeah, it's the football bias. Thank you so much, Thizo, my bro, for this chat. It's gonna be, I'm gonna try upload it by tonight, and then yeah, man. Hope you have a good one, bro. Say hi to the wife and the kids. Stay safe, man. And everybody, thank you so much for watching. We see the views, those 20 nyana, you know, something. So just like, subscribe, you know, and let's share it. And yeah, thank you so much. Thizo, peace out, everybody. Have a good one.
Peace out, my brother.